In 597 BC, the sheer force of the Babylonian conquest completely dismantled the physical security of the Israelite state. This map shows the path of the resulting deportation. Captives were pulled from Jerusalem and marched 700 miles east to a settlement along the Kibar River in Babylon. Among these refugees was Ezekiel. His name, Yehazakel, means "let God grasp." Before his exile, Ezekiel served as an ordained Israelite priest. This displacement created a specific theological crisis. Within the Israelite covenant, identity was tethered to the temple in Jerusalem, a fixed coordinate on a map. Ezekiel addresses this through the apocalyptic genre, building a technical argument against these geographic limitations. The exile forced an ultimatum. Either the God of Israel was defeated by Babylonian power, or God's presence is mobile and unbound by any physical border. To navigate this crisis, Ezekiel utilizes the apocalyptic literary genre, a specialized theological response that emerges during periods of severe suffering and state-level oppression. This genre uses ineffable imagery to bypass rational observation, intending to reveal realities operating in the heavenly spheres. For a population hardened to traditional religious rhetoric, standard verbal warnings were no longer effective. Ezekiel instead deploys two distinct pedagogical tools: hallucinatory visions and visceral street theater. The collective trauma of exile creates deep cognitive dissonance. Piercing the denial of these displaced people required a shocking, apocalyptic approach. This begins in chapter 1. Ezekiel receives a vision of a divine chariot appearing in Babylon, far outside the borders of the Promised Land. These ancient Near Eastern throne guards, known as cherubim, represented a static deity permanently anchored to a physical throne room. Ezekiel's vision describes something different. He sees cherubim that are alive and terrifying, moving beneath a structure of wheels within wheels, covered entirely in eyes. The text notes a mechanical detail. The chariot moves along any linear axis without ever turning its orientation. This vision provides visual evidence of God's absolute mobility. He is not trapped in Jerusalem's ruins. He is present with the exiles in Babylon. But if the divine throne is mobile, we must ask why it is moving at all. In chapter 8, Ezekiel is visionarily transported to Jerusalem to witness idolatry penetrating the innermost courts of the temple. Tracing chapters 10 and 11, the divine glory abandons the Holy of Holies. It moves to the east gate and pauses, lingering in divine grief at the exit. Finally, the presence leaves the city entirely, moving east over the Kidron Valley to the mountain. To a priest, the withdrawal of the divine presence constitutes the ultimate theological catastrophe, rendering the physical siege that followed secondary to the spiritual loss. Following the temple's abandonment, Ezekiel shifts his methodology. Words failed to reach an obstinate population. In chapters 3 and 33, he is assigned a specialized role, the watchman. This role carries a lethal corporate liability. If the watchman fails to warn the people of impending doom, their blood is on his account. Ezekiel warns the people through symbolic actions, such as ingesting a Torah scroll and enduring physical restrictions like forced muteness. This reaches a peak in chapter 24. Ezekiel is forbidden to mourn or shed tears following the sudden death of his wife. Because the nation refused to listen, the prophet's personal bodily trauma and forced silence serve as a mirror to Israel's loss of their covenant. At chapter 33, the narrative pivots. Once the city has physically fallen, the prophetic focus shifts toward restoration. The vision of the Valley of Dry Bones in chapter 37 provides a symbol of national resurrection. This reanimation depends entirely on the Spirit, or breath, of God entering the dead covenant. In chapters 40 through 48, Ezekiel is handed a measuring rod to record the floor plan of an eschatological new temple. This is an idealized visionary construct, distinct from the historical temple later built by Ezra and Nehemiah. Ezekiel uses the familiar symbolic language of a priest, sacrifices, and altars to describe the return of God's presence. The book reaches its climax as the glory of the Lord returns, entering through the same east gate it once departed. A river of life flows from the threshold of this temple, growing progressively deeper and bringing supernatural growth to the barren landscape. This imagery directly informs the apocalyptic vision of the New Jerusalem found in the New Testament book of Revelation. Ezekiel's synthesis of trauma and vision transformed a location-dependent religion into a resilient faith anchored by the uncontainable and mobile presence of God.